That was music by my guest, Judith Lang Zaimont. Hi, how are you, Judith? Can you hear
Hi,
me?
Ching. How are you? I
Yeah,
hear you
I'm
great.
good. Thank you. That was beautiful music we just played. So tell us a little bit about the excerpts we just heard.
Um,
Hello?
I think that was the opening of the growler movement from my Wind Symphony. Is that right?
Right,
Yes.
right.
Okay. That's kind of an interesting piece. It was my third symphony, and commissioned for a major anniversary from a big university for their symphonic wind ensemble. The piece, therefore, I adopted a few rules for myself right away, which were you want the kids to pay attention to the conductor from the get-go. So I wrote the opening of this first movement so that the instruments would load on from their lighter tone weight to their heavier tone weight. So the brass that trumps all over everybody would come in towards the end. We'd start with the winds, which were lighter, get the saxes and French horns in, and then the low brass, and finally trumpets, all with percussion underneath
Our connection is a little bit lagging. Sorry about that, guests. Um, so, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Yeah, we're lagging a little bit.
Yeah.
So, thank you. Your music is. I listen to. Hello, hello. I listen to many pieces of yours, many compositions of yours. They're all very dynamic, with
I
interesting
wonder
rhythm.
if everybody heard what I had to say.
Uh, we have a little bit lagging going on. Sorry. Um, um, so yeah. So can you hear me, Judith? So Judith is in Arizona, um, near the desert, like closer to Tucson. Yeah.
Hello.
Hi, how are
This is
you?
Judith Zaimont coming to
we're
you
we're having
from
trouble. Yeah.
a far outpost in rural Arizona, my home base. And our technology is not the spiffiest out here.
Oh, it's good. So far,
So,
so good for the
Ching,
last
were
1 minute.
you
Yeah,
able to hear
I can
your
hear you.
audience
Yeah,
about mortality and corruption? You
I can
can.
hear you. Yeah, I can hear you right now. Yeah, and it's a little bit in and out, in and out, in and out. So, um,
Good. Well, then let me
shall
say
we play another excerpt? Mm, sorry about that.
again about um,
I was wondering if our guest can
the
hear us. Can you write on the comment area?
opening of the growler.
Yeah. Oh, Leonard, technical problems make it impossible to hear the music.
Frontal and interruptive, but at other times it is so much more mellow, lyric, and emotional. Just like any other human being, composers have many modes in which we can express ourselves.
Beautifully
Do you
said.
agree?
Yeah, beautifully said. Yeah. So, tell us a little bit. Let me read our audience part of your biography. Your biography, the short version is in the description area of YouTube of this post. Um, I'm going to read the section of the short biography of Judith Lang Zaimont. So Judith Lang Zaimont is internationally recognized for her music's distinctive style, characterized by expressive strength and dynamism. A grantee of both National Endowments, winner of the 2015 the American Prize in Chamber Music Composition, and a 2003 Aaron Copland Award winner. She has enjoyed a distinguished career as composer of over 100 works, with performances by the Philadelphia Orchestra, Baltimore Symphony, Camerata Bern, Berlin and Czech Radio Symphonies, and the Kremlin Chamber Orchestra. Her music is widely performed throughout the US and Europe and has been recorded for the MSR Classics, Naxos, Navona, Koch Classics, and many, many labels. Thank you. So please finish reading the rest in our description. And we wanted to talk to Judith. Are you good, Judith? Are you good? Can you hear me?
Good.
Oh, good.
I hear you just fine. Can you hear me?
Great. I can hear you.
I pop in and out like a magical creature. Okay, that's technology out here in
like a wizard.
Yes,
like a wizard. Oh no, are you okay? Earthquake. So tell me, now I know I read some of your biography, your Wikipedia, and I understand you came from a musical family. Tell us a little bit about your family and your mom being a pianist and a teacher of you. Hello? Sorry about that. I wonder, is it in my end or just her end? Hello?
Not catching you, but if folks can hear me.
I'm gonna close some of my stuff just to see if that helps. Hello? Can you hear me? Uh-oh. We can read the description of ourselves, but we cannot hear any of the music you play. I'm so sorry, Leonarda. Yeah, there's some problem going on. Let's see. Hello? Does it make any difference if I have lots of YouTube links? Oh, here we go. Sorry about that. Are we good? Hi. Hello, Judith.
This is what happens.
Yeah.
Hi.
Yeah. So I was asking
I'm
you
here.
about.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me? No? Let me see. Okay. I am going to. I hear funny sound.
Let me put the headphones on.
Oh, okay. Sorry about
Hello?
that. Yes. Hi. Cannot hear me? Are we good? Judith?
I hear you a bit.
Okay. Are we good?
Yes, we are
Yeah.
very good.
We're very good.
We are very good, but
yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Can you see
so
me?
I can see you. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for being there. She's frozen
here.
again. Yeah. Hi Nick, how are you? Thanks for watching. We're having some technical problems. I think Judith and is frozen often. So I don't know. Maybe I'll get rid of this screen share for now. Okay. So hello. Mm, yeah. Yeah. So how about I play some her work to see if you guys can hear. How's that? Okay. Oh, she's gone. So let me see. Uh, how about this is a piano trio.
Nocturne.
Beautiful. So that was piano trio from I think it's just a one movement of the piano trio of Judith Lang Zaimond's work. It's very beautiful. It's a very recent performance, and well done, very well done. So I guess in Judith End there's some Wi-Fi problems. So for those of you who are hanging in there with us, thank you very much. And hi, Judith, you're back. I see you. Okay, I see you. Hi. Hello. Can you hear us? I guess the same problem, huh? Hello? Hello, Judith? So I was saying that piano work, let's see, where is my notes? It's called Russian Summer. It's a nocturne movement from the piano trio Russian Summer. Hello. Can you hear us? Can you hear me, Judith?
Hey, hey.
Hi. Hi, can you hear us? Great. Hello. Internet is spotty in outside.
From my first piano Russian summer.
Yes, that was, yeah, beautiful.
Piece, a kind of study in sound of nighttime.
Nocturne, right. Chopin wrote a lot of nocturnes. I know you like Chopin, right?
And I'm not certain if we are still on or not, or if Ching is talking. Forgive me, Ching, if I'm talking over you.
It's okay. I can hear you. Good. Uh-oh. She's out. So, sorry about that. Maybe we play more music, and maybe we'll do this another time, and when the internet is fixed. I don't know about yeah, I don't know the company in Arizona. It could be the desert, huh? Could be their I actually don't use Wi-Fi when I'm talking. When I do my show, I use Ethernet cable. I directly plug into my router, so it's a much safer. When you want to do live streaming, it is better. Or if you want to do live streaming performance, you better prepare a long Ethernet cable and plug into the router of the facility you are at. So that way you're not relying on Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi is not reliable. Anything can happen. Yeah, if you have some serious gamer around you, and then you're done. Yeah. So when we first get on, I ask Judy, I say, is your husband playing video game? Obviously not. So anyway, so how about I will play another excerpt of her music. All right, I apologize for the... Okay, so this one is called Elegy for Symphonic Strings. It's scored for a solo violin and 5-part string ensemble, where each section is also subdivided, and it has interesting features. Judith Zaimont's rhythmic hallmark. It's called 4 quick notes followed by a 5th long note. So I don't know if you can hear that. So this is called Elegy. Elegy. It was incorporated as its middle movement of Remember Me from Symphony Number 2 for Symphonic. Symphonic. Later on, this elegy was incorporated for her Symphony Number 2. So I get this. Unmute ourselves. Can you hear me? Let me see. Oops. Hello. Unmute. Judith, cannot unmute your guest. Their mic isn't connected. Oh, your mic is not connected, says, sorry. Hello? Hello, Judith? I guess the connection is not good, huh? So that was Elegy. Hello, Judith? It says your mic is not connected. So that was what you were here earlier. That was Elegy for symphonic strings, for solo violin and strings. Okay, now you have voice. Can I hear you? Hello? Hello?
I hear you. I hear
Oh,
you.
good.
I hear you.
I hear you now. I hear you
Do
now.
you hear
Okay.
me?
Yeah, I hear you now.
Well,
Okay.
Amazing.
Yeah. So yeah. So
you
we
tell
were.
Me
Yeah.
what music you played. I know you played the Elegy.
Yes, I just did Elegy. Before that, I did your piano trio. Piano trio. The
concert with the nocturne
yeah,
from the
yeah, nocturne from the Russian summer. We're sluggish. Russian summer.
Yes.
Yes. So so tell us a little bit more about that piece. The piano trio. Okay. Oh, I guess this internet is pretty sluggish. Sorry about that. I can't. Oh yeah, Nick, you cannot hear Judith. Thank you, Nick. She's both muted and frozen. Thank you.
Nocturne.
Yes, I can hear you a little bit. So you guys have any idea what's going on? Do you know? It's because there truly is a rural area in Arizona. The Wi-Fi is weak. I guess I haven't lived in rural area for a while, so I cannot relate to that anymore. So, Leonard, where are you? What city are you? I know Nick is in Western Haven, Connecticut. Nick is my close friend
If you
who
can hear me,
always. Yes, I can hear you now. Yes, it's kind of in and out, you know. Like I can hear you a little bit, and then I lose you. So, are you there?
and
Well,
your audience can hear me, I'd like
yeah.
to speak a little bit
Okay.
composer, not just one is the issue of, you might call it branding. Composer is often thought about as being a person in a single gear. They get an adjective that goes along with that composer, such as minimal.
Mm-hmm. Valley Stream, New York, huh? How far is from Manhattan? I think I have done let's see, today this is the number 70 um uh what do you call, online live talk show. Uh, Many problem occurs.
So my thought is
Yes.
that we need to
So,
take each composer as a complete individual. We wouldn't ask Mozart or Bizet or Scriabin or Stravinsky to be the same person.
mhm.
Or
40 minutes from Penn Station. Can you guys hear Judith? I hear her a little bit.
and it also
Um,
doesn't help people who are thinking to commission pieces, because the pieces that they might commission may be based on the model of a piece that the composer wrote in the past. That the composer thought was so please.
oh, interesting. Judith, did you see your friend Leonard's suggestion to say turn off your video? There is a place called Stop Camera, and then to see if we can hear you just through audio. And my suggestion is to bring your device, go to set up next to your router, that the room router
And
is.
there's a whole
Do you want to try to turn off your video so we just hear you talk? Right now it's sluggish right now.
As I said
yeah.
just now, use no gender. It has personality. And each one of us has so many facets to our person. Made several pieces of mine, some of which seemed expressive. Some of which I've had people talk about my
Yeah, I cannot turn her camera off. I can only turn my own camera
as being masculine. I don't hear it. I hear music simply has personality, gender. In the 1970s, and that came from something different. That didn't necessarily from as some people might suspect, as looking for, yes, we want the music performed, but the issue wasn't that. My amazement and for the first.
Judith, can you hear me? Judith?
Time at the close of the 20th century to find that this music had formed a tradition. It wasn't taught in the schools. It wasn't meant to be some sort of scholar in this direction.
Judith, can you hear me? We're lagging. Oh, sorry about that. So I have a feeling we have to do this again some other time. It's not getting better, seems. I apologize, and I thank you for your patience. So while I am waiting, perhaps I will play something else. Oh, she's back. I'm gonna wait for her to show up. Seems like she's not getting my messages. Yeah. Thank you, Leonard, for being there for us. Oh, she's back. Judith?
Ching, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Leonard recommended that you turn off your camera. Can you turn off your camera and then just talk with us? There is a button. It's called Stop Cam. You see it in the bottom of this program called Stop Cam. There's a button. You'll see mute, stop cam, mic, and can you try to stop the camera so we can just at least hear you talk? Because it's sluggish. Yeah, Leonard. Thank you, Leonard. Yeah, turn the camera off. There's a bottom says stop cam. Did you see it? Did you see it? It says stop cam. And then there's a button called cam and mic. Yeah. I don't know. So I will stop cam myself, okay? You guys, can you hear me? I stopped cam right now. So without image, you can still hear me, right? Tell me that. Yeah, Leonard, I appreciate your suggestions. We actually had a test before this, but the test didn't start early enough. So I think anyway, so hello, Judith? Maybe I should call her, huh? I'm so sorry, guys. So there is a button called Stop Cam, and let's try if that works. Okay. Okay. Stop the cam so we can save some of the Wi-Fi. There's no audio right now, Judith. Yeah, there's no audio from you. Um, can we have some audio? Yeah. Okay. Oh well. Thank you. Hi. Is that a Kevin, right? Judith seems came in when there is an audio problem. Yeah. So she tried to. I called her and she tried to unmute. We tried to utilize Leonard's suggestion to uh, stop the camera of her end, so at least she can. We can, get rid of the video and we can just hear her. But now she is off right now. So, oh well. Um, should I play some music or should we just end? Perhaps we should just end, reschedule this. This is not working well. Yeah. But by the way, you can check her out. Check her website out and check her website out and learn some of the works of her. And then next time when we do it again, okay, here we go. So this she's back and hopefully we can hear her. Okay. Hello. Hi, Judith. Yeah. It's not working. Hello, Judith. When she had
Can you hear
the
me, Ching?
Yes, I can hear you now. Yeah. Hello. I can hear you. Hello. Hello. I was saying that
Hello?
hello.
Oh,
Hello. This
if everybody can see
hello?
and hear me,
I can
what
hear
I
you
would like
now.
to
Yeah.
continue with is the idea of being taken at full value by the people who are evaluating your music in your own time. I think that's critically important because for any composer, man, woman, ET, what mostly matters is that
Well, I guess it's not working well. So I was saying
connection
that
at this time.
yeah.
But I will keep talking just in
Can you take the video off?
case. Just so whole word about over time. In other words, something that's not a steady state. But something that draws the listener in and gives the listener cues enough of the ideas in the music.
Well. This is very spotty, and I will suggest that we do this another time. I don't think it's gonna the problem will be fixed in a short time. Hello?
Good example.
Well, I'm on the phone with you. So
that would be great if people could hear.
Yeah. So I'm talking.
I can see myself on the camera.
I'm talking with Judith right now because her internet is not great. So yeah. So you were saying things, but it was spotty. Can you repeat some of the important thing, please?
First of all, before I do that, if you can hear me, Ching, I want to thank you for your graciousness for letting me continue to chat with your audience. I think somehow what I'm about to say is more important even than any single piece of music might be.
Mm-hmm.
First thing is that please don't brand any composer in one vein. We are all people, multifaceted personalities, and we, each one of us, give at different times in our music, give voice and humanity to one or another of those facets of personality. What I'm saying is, please don't brand any composer. It's easy for musicologists to try and summarize each one of us with a single adjective or a short phrase. This person's a minimalist. That one's a maximalist. Somebody else is completely improv. Somebody else is off the wall, you know?
Yeah.
And somebody else is totally controlled. Somebody else is only quiet. Somebody else is only loud. Nonsense. Nonsense. We are all of those things and much, much more.
Mm-hmm.
This is something sometimes difficult for commissioners to wrap their heads around. They'd like to present a piece of music or request a piece of music that is similar to another piece that they might already know. And where we are, and where I am certainly, is I keep wanting to forge into the future. I figure by the time I've let a piece off my desk to get out into the world, it's pretty much the best that I could do. in that for those forces at that time, and I'm ready to move on to something else. So that's part of my impatience as an individual, I guess. I'm not interested in writing 1,000 nocturnes or 1,000 assertive pieces or 1,000 sustained resonance pieces. Everything always has to be new and be different. I am, from the get-go, curious about the world. I keep wanting to learn. I consider myself a lifelong learner, and that shows up in the evolution of my music. I think the only time you can properly find an adjective for a composer is after that person is no longer with us on this earth, and then you can go back and take a good long look at the entirety of the music the individual's written. So that's one big thing to say. Please don't brand composers.
Yes.
Please.
Right.
Number two would be about the whole issue of gender in music. And whether it exists, I don't think it does. And yet I'm known as an advocate for women in music. Go explain that, right? Right. The point there is that I got really incensed when I finally discovered, you know, in the 1970s and 80s, some of the historical women composers who wrote really magnificent music. I'm thinking of Elizabeth Claude Jacquet de la Guerre right now. She was court composer to Louis XV. She was a protege of Madame de Pompadour, and she was an accomplished organist, and second only to Couperin in that court in terms of her status as a major composer. She wrote everything. She didn't write little anything. Everything she wrote was big and fully fleshed. We all know, I think, that Clara Schumann and Fanny Mendelssohn Hensel wrote music, that Amy Beach was a really notable composer. Also, Rebecca Clark.
Yes, beautiful.
Wonderful composer. Her viola sonata actually entered repertoire, which is magnificent. So, coupled with that discovery was the big thing that made me scratch my head. Why are these composers not taught? Why is their music not performed today? Believe me, if we can perform and put on the radio Dittus von Dittersdorf, we certainly should put on the larger framed and more magnificent pieces of Beach, of Hensel, of Grażyna Bacewicz, of Ruth Crawford Seeger. I'm just talk mostly American composers, but not only. And people like Margaret Richter, like Peggy Glanville Hicks, the Australian composer. I mean, these people are all out there. They're all there. Their music is known. It was published. Why is it not done, or only done when you want to think about some sort of column B of composers? So coupled with that was what I was hearing from some of my colleague composers back in New York, that their music was not being taken seriously by the critics who were reviewing things. So I was approached by a publisher to see if I would do a book series that would be sort of a gazette of performances of music by women on an annual basis. And I said, no, I wouldn't do that. But the book I'd write would be a combination of gazetteer and essays. And so I actually, and I mandated it had to be series, because the last thing you want to have happen is to be caught in one single box. And so I got a commitment from Greenwood Press for the multi-volume series, The Musical Woman, An International Perspective. I'm the creator and editor-in-chief of that. I had several co-editors and contributors around the world. And the reason I did this was to get the essays written on this entire subject of women's accomplishments in music, not just as composers, but as music administrators, as coaches, as conductors, as forces behind the scenes, as forces in front of the scenes, as theorists, and worldwide. Worldwide. It's an international perspective. And so I could design all the essays, and the essay category I designed that was most meaningful to me was the critical appraisals. I went around to active music critics in the industry operating at that time. This would be in the 80s and the 90s, and I got them to write a critical appraisal of one composer I felt who was really prominent. And I got letters back from several of these composers thanking me for having done that. One who was a Pulitzer Prize winner wrote to me that she was very grateful. It was the first serious treatment of her music that had been in print. And so what you have to do.
So it's a score?
That's
it's
what I
score?
was interested in. Parity in place for the composers who happen to be women.
When you say this perspective, international perspective, is this a written? It's like a text, or it's a score?
Oh, they're big books, 400 pages, each one 400. This one has 550 odd pages in it. I have volume 2 on my desk right here, and I can't show you the list. These were meant to break the mold, to stop channels of thinking that music written by women of necessity needs to be a column B choice. I won't stand for that. I know that I write music that has substance, and I know other people. I know the people, and I know their music, and I know it is of substance. And it is unfortunate that the historical women composers, prominent in their own times, have to be rediscovered in the present moment. As I said before, if you're going to do Ditters von Dittersdorf, for pity's sake, do Elizabeth Claude Jacquet de la Guerre. I'm not even advocating for my own music. I'm advocating for health in the history of music. Yeah.
So you're from limited things I read about your music style, there's a saying say your music is highly dramatic with non-traditional but tonal underpinnings. Your style.
I'm a tonal composer. I've always thought of myself as one. It amuses me when people try to analyze my music using 12-tone analytic tools. I think that's funny. What I would say, if I may say about my own music, again, it has many facets to it. One more thing about it is, as I said before, I'm eternally curious about the world, and certainly curious about everything musical. In over time, I have slowly explored sonic resources, and I think this is probably interesting. What's interesting is evolution. What do I mean? I started out, I wrote for my own instrument. I started composing at the age of 11, and it was Chopin who told me to compose. There's a story behind that. At the end of my lengthy practice sessions, I would give myself a treat by sight reading Mozart or Chopin. Just read through the books. Just read through them. And I played a piece by Chopin, the Berceuse, in D-flat major, which has a continuing progression in the left hand that never changes, and the right hand plays all of these variations on the top of it. And I said to myself, aha, Chopin also does not like to practice the same thing over and over again. He wants to make it new. And it was like a light bulb went off over my head. It was my open door to write music. It never dawned on me that my composition professors, who were just very few, were men. And I was female. I never, ever paid attention to that. I knew I was born to write music. So, evolution. I went from music for my own instrument and music for voice and music for flute or a couple of solo instrument sonata tries. They're all suppressed now. They're not in my catalog. To writing for voices in multiple. And then orchestral music. I wrote orchestral music, and then I went into the chamber music genre. I have two string quartets. Well, leave string quartets for a moment. 2 piano trios, 2 wind quintets, 2. I have a brass quintet, and a whole bunch of other chamber music pieces for broken consort for 5 varied instruments. And then when I waited and waited for string quartet. I waited because string quartet is summative for a composer. I wrote my first symphony, and talk about a late bloomer. I wrote my first symphony when I was 50 years old. That was a commission. I wrote my second symphony when I was 62. I wrote my third symphony. No, excuse me. I wrote my second. I was incorrect. My second symphony was 57. Third symphony was 58. The fourth symphony at the age of 68. And my fifth symphony actually dates from 1987. It's the Dance Symphony, Hidden Heritage. I just slotted it in as 5. The sixth symphony was written last year, age 74.
Wow. Oh, by the way,
I'm getting ready to write my 7th symphony now.
By the way, happy late birthday. Your birthday's on 8th.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm really sorry I can't present my face and some examples of my scores to your viewers because I think they say the proof of the pudding is in the eating. The proof is in the music. You can talk and talk and talk about something, but the music has to deliver. If it doesn't,
right. So, question: have you written any string trio?
Yes. I have a string trio from early in this century. It is a piece that has something to say for itself. I don't consider it as successful as the string quartet. And there's a reason for that. Just think back. I trained originally as a pianist. And piano is a coherent medium, up to down, with a huge range. So I am most comfortable, I guess, when I get to coherent mediums that have a large range, which means instruments of like type. So string quartet is pretty ideal there, and I think you played for your audience the Elegy for strings. That's the second movement of my second symphony. And that you could hear that it's the string sections are broken down. I mean, they are subdivided, and there's this solo violin also. So there's many layers to the texture. I'm very interested in the question of resonance, texture, and register.
Now, string trio, historically, is it a little harder to write compared to string quartet, right? Because you only have 3 parts.
Good question. For me, it was more challenging. I wrote it before I wrote the Second Symphony, before I wrote the string quartets, certainly. The question is, do you treat them as lines, or do you treat them as always having harmonic, dimensional potential?
Mm-hmm.
Because you can have multiple stops. That's the whole thing. So it doesn't only have to be a texture where lines are the predominant element. There are probably other things to say about that.
I have a question.
It's very challenging, that piece.
Yeah,
that string trio.
I think I used to have a string trio, jade string trio. I think we have. Yeah, I think either you or your agent or yourself send us the trio. It's somewhere, in my library. Yeah.
That could be.
Yeah.
I know I didn't send it to you. Could be my representative, Jeffrey James.
Yeah, it's been a while. So I have a question. When you say your style is essentially chromatic and non-contrapuntal, so what does here non-contrapuntal mean when you say, like?
Oh, well, Again, dimension. I'm always looking for not to be restricted by a certain number of lines or a certain number of voices. There are times when I need the punch of a big fat sound. It doesn't mean it needs to be pleasant, but a big fat sound. And therefore you need to have harmonic potential. Mm-hmm. That is many notes sounding at the same time. Mostly I write 5-tone chords. So there you go. However, I've written many experimental pieces. I write pieces just because I need to write them. They present themselves as challenges to me. I wrote one last year that's called Tendrils. It's for 3 instruments, flute, clarinet, and vibraphone, and it's a study in sustained resonance. This was not a commission piece. I just wanted to see if I could do that, not have dramatic shapes and do it and bring it off over a period of 7 or 8 minutes, a single movement. And I think I did it. Another piece I wrote in 2016, again, not a commissioned piece. I wrote a piece called The Pure Impure. I have been very struck by visual art my whole life. It means a lot to me. Painting, sculptures. And I went back to study the work of 3 abstract expressionists, Americans, from the middle part of the 20th century, Mark Rothko, Ad Reinhardt, and Milton Avery. They have very different shapes and approaches. And what I wanted to do was write a movement inspired by the paintings of each one of them. The movements don't correlate. I mean, they're separate, but it's a single piece. And for me, their visual work has a purity to it. And therefore, the music is the pure impure, because they are each so distinct one from the other. None stands ahead of anyone. They are of equal interest and involvement and engagement. I'm trying to think of other things that I've written that were experimental. Oh, the big one is a big orchestral tone poem, I guess you'd say. The piece is called Stillness. It's been recorded on a Naxos CD. Kirk Trevor is conducting the Slovak National Philharmonic. Stillness was a piece that I wrote to test myself.
Mm.
And I had to try it 3 times. The first 2 times I couldn't get to it because I couldn't have enough quiet. It was in the middle of semesters. So I had to wait until I had the Copland Award so I could go and have 2 free months by myself at Aaron Copland's house, just to sit there and let the piece come into being inside my head so that I could get it down correctly. This piece was experimental because it was stimulated by the music of 2 composers that was opaque to me. I could not get into their musics, and that's fascinating because you want to find out what's different from your perceptions to theirs.
Mm-hmm.
So the 2 composers are Frederick Delius, who just goes on for me too long in each one of his statements. And the other composer was Morton Feldman, whose music I had to concentrate very hard to stay with for the length of a piece. So because these pieces, because their methodologies were foreign to me and their results were not reaching me, I did studies, separate studies of the musics of each one of them. I studied quite a few scores of each of theirs to try and find out about process and intuit back how they could hear.
Mm-hmm.
And from that, I wanted to write a piece of music that whose length and whose progress through I think it's something like 17 minutes long, a single movement for orchestra, were not my own lengths and not my own essentials for how a piece would progress from beginning to end. I wanted to do that, to give myself over to what I understood of how their musics were, and try to put them to these 2 foreign musics, one to the other, try and put them together in my own.
Do you always have a title before you start to write?
No, not at all. The title comes after.
Yeah.
The title comes after.
Interesting.
I wrote, for goodness sake, I didn't even know what to call this piece. I had an elderly relative who was in the hospital, and I couldn't get to her. She was many states away, and I couldn't leave. And I wanted to write something, a piece of music that I could mail to her so she could listen to, so she would know that I was caring. So again, I put myself in her shoes. I know the kind of music she likes. She likes big band music from the 30s and the 40s. And so I said I would write a piece that would be mellow. And I started with the opening chord from David Raxon's great theme from the movie Laura, that major 7th chord. So that's where I began, and the piece was this long breathed piece, mostly quiet. It's not pretty. I don't do pretty. It has this kind of maybe hidden longing expression to it, and I didn't know what to call it. Well, when I looked at it after it was done, I said, "Oh, this is a piece for nighttime. Let's call it Serenade." And I wrote the piece in one day so I could get it into the mail to her. I wrote it for piano solo, and I have recorded it myself in performance. And so many people heard it and wanted it for other mediums. They kept commissioning me to adapt it for other media. So it exists in a number of versions.
Yeah. So Judith, we're kind of over time.
Right.
Yeah, I was wondering we can talk privately to talk about what we should do, or what we could make it better, and maybe we could do it again sometimes.
I'd love that if you're open to it again.
Yeah.
Thank you for your graciousness
Yeah, you're
to think in
welcome.
my direction.
Mm-hmm.
There are many composers doing mighty interesting things in this world.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate the time that you've given me and the
course.
time with your listeners, if they're still listening.
Yeah, some people are still there. So, well, I think it's almost 5:30. So, thank you for your talent and your wisdom and your message, and I really appreciate. And I'm sorry for the technical problems we're facing, and so maybe next time will be better.
I would hope so.
Yeah,
Thank you very much for this interplanetary communication. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. So yeah, until then, and please keep safe, and I will talk to you, Judy, soon. And our audience, thank you for being there. If you feel like, please subscribe our Juhl Media YouTube channel. Thank you so much. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Leonard. Thank you, guys, for being there. All right. So good night. I'm going to say goodbye to you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.